ito ang Broad Stream Cast Communicators at nangingibang at kakaibang plataforma sa digital broadcast. Mula Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao hanggang sa iba't ibang dako ng mundo. Broad Stream Cast Communicators ang santigan ng sambayanan mula sa walang tapis at walang tugang na pagpabalita, paglilipon, magdalaman sa mga mapagdaong komentaryo at usaping pambayan para sa kapakanan ng karamihan. Broad Cast Communicators, biyang paglilingkod ngayon hanggang sa susunod na generasyon. Online, Chikahan ang kaalaman pangkabuhayan.
Wind blown.
Pakinggan at tuklasin ang mga pangyayari at kaganapan online. Buhay online.
Ay, wala palang
Chikahan
sa
ang kaalaman pangkabuhayan. Alamin ang pinakaligtas trend
nakakabit na headset.
at tuklasan ang narating ng teknolohiyang ito. At ngayon, narito na ang ating Techiemommy Jaye C. Bautista.
Kanina walang sound kasi nakakabit na naman. Ito natin. Ito na naman natin.
Stream Cast Communicators ang nangingibang at kakaibang plataforma sa digital broadcast. Mula Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao hanggang sa iba't ibang dako ng mundo. Broad Stream Cast Communicators ang sandigan ng
Can you hear
sambayanan
me?
mula sa walang tapis at walang kulang na pagbabalita, paglilingkod, magdalaman sa mga mapagdaong komentaryo at usaping pambayan para sa kapakanan ng karamihan. Broad Stream Cast Communicators, biyang paglilingkod ngayon.
Narinig niyo ba ako? Anyway, yun po. Okay, station ID. Yeah, I guess can you hear me? Ano ka ba? Ito, naririnig niyo ba ako? Hello? Ito na sa Facebook ko. Can you hear me? Ayun, meron. Salamat. Thank you. Welcome to Buhay Online on a Wednesday. It's Wednesday, March, ano ba yan? April 12 na po. Half of the month na naman is gone. Okay. And napakabilis ng panahon. 'Di ba? Tapos na 9 months na lang ang year na to. Sobra kasing bilis, sabi nila, somebody told me, habang tumatanda ka raw kasi parang you feel that time is passing you by faster. Totoo ba yun? Hindi. I think any age na nowadays, mararamdaman nyo talaga na time is just fleeting. It's just passing, right? It's really just passing us through, okay? So anyway, yesterday po we were talking about technology in the workplace. Today po, we talk about technology in education. Pero, diba, pinag-usapan natin kahapon yung tungkol sa technology in the workplace, how nowadays, ang AI po ay na-introduce na sa workplace and also virtual reality VR tsaka yung AR, which is augmented reality. And then passing po, yung tungkol sa pinag-usapan natin about that, yung mga ang strategic workplace trends po ay yung cloud-based collaboration ng solutions, yung mga, di ba, ang mga meetings naging Zoom na. Anyway, ayun po. Today, yung pag-uusapan naman natin yung technology in the education department. But anyway, speaking of education, let's talk about what's happening in the Philippines regarding that, okay? Okay, fresh na news because of course technology is such that we can have the news real time, all right? So, a CHR report, very few scholarships daw po and job opportunities ang binibigay sa mga indigenous students. Opo, talaga, totoo po yan. And it's really sad to know that. Ayan na naman, Diyos ko, yung aming pusong maingay. Diba, as I was saying, due to lack of funds, yung National Commission on Indigenous People has not able to accommodate lahat po ng mga indigenous persons requesting scholarship assistance. Iba yung UP nga po, yung lahat ng eskwela, yung allotment nila, ano po, yung assistance po what do you call this, kulang, right? Yung funding po ay kulang. Yung mga nagre-request ng scholarship, ang ano po, National Commission on Indigenous People, they're not able to accommodate lahat ng mga requests ng indigenous people requesting scholarships. Despite the vast amount of IP education advocacy and services funds, it is still not enough. As an NCIP representative relates, okay? The CHR report tracks the extent to which students, both in the formal and non-formal schooling systems, were able to transition to work during the COVID-19 pandemic and the factors that may prevent some from doing so. Based on discussions with IP learners, okay, and NCIP representatives, kahit na merong mga IPs want to go to school, yung mga IP meaning indigenous people, not all can be accommodated by the NCIP. Yun nga po ang sabi ng report, and that's sad to say. The IP students po are then referred sa mga ibang government agencies with programs for indigenous people like the Commission on Higher Education, okay, yung CHED, Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, tsaka yung Department of Health. Noong 2022 po, NCIP received a budget of 168 million, which it distributed to 13 regional offices all around the country for 10,397 student beneficiaries. Okay? Kulang po yun. Yun yung 10,000 students lang yun. 168 million. The CHR report also highlighted how yung mga indigenous people po that complete their degrees, okay, yung mga nagkakompleto ng degrees nila, are greeted by sparse job opportunities, kaunting oportunidad po magtrabaho, resulting in underemployment. Yung mga ibang college graduates po do not practice their profession. Opo, talaga po, nangyayari po naman talaga yan. Minsan yung ating tinatrabaho na trabaho ay hindi yung natapos natin kasi ang isang reason for that is the sparsity or the scarcity of the trabaho na nasa field na ginabit natin. And people are they have no choice but to take the job that is available. Whether it's, di ba, yung sa field na inaral nila o hindi. Kasi ang importante lang is magkatrabaho, right? The NCIP is also largely unaware of what happens to IP graduates after they finish schooling due to a lack of regular monitoring. Some college graduates do not practice their profession. As the report says, they know of someone who has finished a college degree and works as a salesperson. Common po yan. Nag-med degree pero nagme-med rep o kaya nagbebenta. Kasi nga po, walang opening masyado dun sa field na ginraduate nila. Or yung vacancies po, mahirap hanapin. Okay? So, the report said that NCIP, which was created in 1997, ulitin ko yung NCIP po, yan po ang National Commission on Indigenous People. Okay? It was created in 1997. Okay? The NCIP, which was created in 1997, is still working on improving the agency's monitoring mechanism. Kasi dapat po, di ba, pagka-graduate, mamonitor natin kung ano na nangyari sa buhay nito mga nakapag-aral na ito. Particularly with the operationalization of the Educational System Program Information System. Since then, it has occasionally come under fire for reportedly discrediting legitimate schools and IP organizations led by lumad persons and joining the government's anti-communist task force in red tagging human rights defenders. Okay? All right. Okay. On another note, in connection to this, okay, ito po ang isa pang tungkol sa learning. So yan po yung ating balita tungkol doon sa mga indigenous people at yung budget na kinakailangan po nating dagdagan. Okay? So, on another note naman, the parents' inability to help children with disabilities is also a barrier to learning. Totoo, right? Sa parents of children, yung mga parents po ng mga children with disabilities, whether it's autism, ADHD, and all those other things considered, hindi sila aware or how they were unable to assist their children with their learning, lalo na po ng distance learning, di ba? Kasi po, hindi nila alam kung paano. Yan po ang naging problema nitong pandemic na time na naka-lockdown po, na wherein parents were forced, okay, to be the ones to teach their children, okay? Paano nga kasi kung hindi nakapag-aral, paano matutulungan, right? See, parents of children with disabilities lalo na who were unaware or were otherwise unable to assist their children with their learning devices and materials. Ito po ang nag-contribute to their disrupted schooling during the pandemic. Totoo po. Kasi nga po, hindi ba? Hindi nila matutor yung anak nila kasi nga hindi naman nila alam. Based on discussions with students with disabilities and their parents, the few materials made available to them were also either inaccessible or difficult to use due to a lack of know-how from both child and parent. Ayun na nga yun. Yung kung binigyan man, kung yung mga modular education pa, di ba? Yung mga walang laptop, yung nag-aral na modular ang gamit, hindi din sila makapagturo kasi hindi nila inaral yun. Hindi nila alam kung paano ituturo sa anak nila yung lesson na yun. Okay? Parents and other stakeholder support is critical for students and workers with disabilities. The lack of support of some parents for students and workers with disabilities, the lack of support can be due to a lack of awareness, di ba, of the kind of support their children need. At hindi na nga, ang pinaka-main thing doon is nga, kung hindi sila nakapag-aral, hindi nakapagtapos, paano nila ituturo, right? Parents of children with disabilities can sometimes themselves, yung ordinaryong, yung normal na bata, na ang magulang kunyari ay hindi nakapag-aral, hindi matuturuan, yung pa kayang may special needs na bata, no? Na may with disabilities. Parents of children with disabilities can sometimes themselves become barriers to the rights of their child. Itong sinabi ng CHR. This is why support and assistance from other institutions are also important. The study by the CHR took into account the general extent to which students were able to transition to work during the COVID-19 pandemic under the K-12 curriculum and the difficulties that plague the education sector. Okay? Ano yan? Yan na nga po, di ba? Nung in the beginning po ng distance learning, anong nangyari? Limited yung mga modules, kulang yung ibang materials. Okay, students with disabilities had limited access to learning materials, technology, and other devices during the pandemic. Yun na nga po, lalong kinailangan ng mga gadgets na kailangan gamitin or may internet man lang. Eh, yung mga iba po na hindi they are not capable, di ba? Paano yan? Wala silang tools to work with, okay? Most materials in modules containing images or pictures that could not be seen by students with visual impairment, di ba? Yung mga, kung mayroong visual impairment, di naman nila makikita kahit yung graphic na lesson, may mga pictures. Added to this, some lack the know-how to use technology. Yun na nga po, hindi marunong yung magulang, tapos yung anak pa, kunyari maliit, hindi nila maturuan. And others could not be assisted by their parents or by the teachers who failed to respond to the students' messages, leaving their needs and concerns unattended. Ayan po ang nangyari dyan. Nagkaroon ng impediment yung pag-aaral kasi hindi rin accessible yung teacher, diba? Dahil hindi nga available, dahil remote, diba? Hindi nila malaman, hindi naka-online, ganyan. Other students had devices that were incompatible with educational applications or computer software and learning platforms such as Google Classrooms and Henyo. Some had no devices at all. Most of them didn't have any, like cell phone. Lack of access to PWD-friendly resources, okay, was compounded by other challenges that hounded the education sector across the board, such as weak internet connection and costly load credits for mobile data, okay? Siyempre, not all students prefer face-to-face classes. Yung mga nasanay na po na sa bahay nag-aaral, tsaka hindi lahat po gustong bumalik sa eskwela eh. The CHR report also highlighted how popular calls to return to in-person classes did not suit the needs of students with different disabilities, lalo na po yung may mga disabilities. Siyempre sa bahay, at least nababantayan sila habang nag-aaral. Preference for remote learning and face-to-face learning varies depending on the student's impairment. Yun na nga po, depende po yan sa kalagayan or extent po ng disability ng estudyante. Okay? While some students felt more at ease with in-person interactions, students on the autism spectrum favor online classes because their opportunities to socialize are minimized. Hindi po sila masyadong nakamix sa maraming tao. And they are less likely to be bullied. Ayun po. Kaya mas gusto nilang sa bahay nag-aral. Disruptions of any kind to the day-to-day routine of children on the autism spectrum can cause sensory discomfort. Opo. A 2021 study showed that after getting over the pivot to online classes, students with autism thrived under the remote and flexible learning setup at home, which offered a rare sense of social safety. Yun na nga po, yung may mga autism spectrum, nasanay na silang sa bahay, parang mas mahirapan silang mag-mingle ulit sa society. Okay, yun namang school to work transition para sa mga PWD, okay? While generally, students in mainstream schools aim for the same school to work trajectory, students with disabilities will need to take different paths. Bakit? Yung transition po from school for children and youth with disabilities is unique. Sinabi po ng report, no? Because it could mean many things, okay? Transition from work to sheltered employment, from school to supportive employment, or from school to open employment, okay? Their prospects after school, di ba? However, remain largely outside the knowledge of public school teachers, many of whom have no clear understanding of what transition means para sa mga bata at sa mga youth with developmental impairment, di ba? Kasi iba po talagang world altogether ito eh. There is no proper curriculum for their transition from school to employment. Ang sabi pa po ng CHR report, it also revealed that there is a lack of comprehensive data on the employment of persons with disabilities. Yan nga po, walang tracing, no? Despite the requirement under the RA 10524 or the Magna Carta for Persons with Disabilities, for government agencies and medium or large companies to allot at least, ayan po yung statistics, no? 1% of positions para sa mga PWDs. Okay? They will still try to look for people with the least impact of disabling conditions just to meet the criteria. So, meron na po tayong ganyan sa Pilipinas na kailangan at least 1% po nag-hire kayo ng disabled. Sa Amerika po, big percentage, a large percentage. Hindi na yun inaano, basta wala ng percentage sa Amerika, basta kailangan pwedeng mag-hire ng disabled people para silang normal na worker. Hindi na yun considered na parang minority, okay? Companies that comply with the provision, however, are not necessarily inclusive, okay? Since persons with disabilities are typically employed based on the severity of their disability and not based on their competencies, okay? Most persons with disabilities also find trouble getting work in the private sector. Sa Pilipinas, with employers' prejudices shooting down even those with acceptable skills. Based on observations by non-government organizations, when persons with intellectual impairment are employed, it is usually out of pity and not because of their qualifications or competence. Hindi nga, yan po ang dapat nating i-orient ang mga sarili natin na dapat pag capable magtrabaho, di ba, tanggapin, di ba? Not because nga naawa ka na kailangan mo i-kompleto yung demographic, yung stats mo ng 1%. Hire somebody because of the capacity and capability niyang magtrabaho at makatulong sa inyong organisasyon. Okay? In connection to that, no? Okay, there's a landmark law for children with disabilities still unimplemented a year since passage. Well, any parent of a child with a developmental delay often just wishes for one thing to happen para sa kanilang mga anak in the span of a single school year for them to be understood. Diba? Meron pong case ito pong si Alex, 42 years old na mother ng isang 5-year-old child with a speech delay impediment. She hoped na pag-enroll niya sa anak niya in a private school to help him ease into the shift from modular to face-to-face classes, no? So, kailangan enroll niya sa private school. Nag-save po siya ng money to enroll him in a private school. Class sizes there are smaller compared to public school. So, parang yung socializing ng ng may impediment na psychological, medyo mas contained kapag hindi masyado maraming tao, no? They hope na yung anak nila would make friends. But Alex and her husband made the tough decision to pull their son out of school weeks after classes began after they saw photos and videos sent by their teacher to their class group chat. In these, they saw their son sitting in a corner facing the window as his classmates played. He walked around the back of the class while their children answered the test. Her son would cry every time she dropped him off in class. I anticipated that he would have a hard time because it's his first time in a regular school, but it still hurt to see him excluded. Okay? So, noong March 2022 po, advocates of inclusive education and persons with disabilities lauded the passage noong 2022. Okay? Ito po yung landmark law that would pave the way for improved programs and services for learners with disabilities. Republic Act 11650 po, or the Inclusive Education Act, was signed into law in March 2022. Isang taon na po yon. It mandated all cities, and municipalities to establish an Inclusive Learning Resource Center, or ILRC, a physical or virtual one-stop shop providing teaching and learning support to students with disabilities while providing free therapy services. Hindi pa ho yan na-implement hanggang ngayon, 1 year na, hindi pa masyado. While the passage of the law was hailed as a beacon of hope for children with disabilities, a year later, the government has yet to release its implementing rules and regulations, which would have moved the needle closer to ensuring na yung mga batang may disability had access to a quality education and health services. Yun na nga, pati sa private school na lalo. Si Alex po, itong kwento na to na resides in Cavite, would have been among the first in line to avail of an ILRC service and enroll her son in speech therapy. But I never even heard of the law until now. Okay? Regular classrooms can't cater to all students with disabilities. Totoo yan. Okay? That's why nga, di ba, yung mga SPED, certain schools offer SPED. So, conducive yung environment. Alex posted her concerns about her son on Facebook group for other parents with children diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. Okay? I should just find a regular school who could handle my child. Tama. That was the most common advice, sabi na in-advise sa kanya. Her son has yet to go back to school due to Alex's mounting financial problems. Christina Aligada Halal, who has taught SPED for 16 years, and has led Miriam College's Special Needs and Inclusive Education Program since 2018, said that parents of students with disabilities are often backed into a corner of choosing a school without enough learning resources to cater to their needs. Sometimes, sabi ni Aligada Halal, it is the school itself that sends parents a blanket disclaimer that it's not trained to teach students with special needs. This leaves it up to the parents' discretion whether to take a risk. If it doesn't work out, that would be on them. At saka, tanggapin na po natin, yung mga eskwelahang may mga programa for SPED ay mahal. Di ba? Merong yung community of learners po, mga pamangkin ko na iba nag-aral po dyan, ay mahalang tuition. At yan nga, ito Miriam. That's why, ayan no ang reason kung bakit nagsasettle na lang sila for a school na tatanggap sa anak nila. Whether or not they have the tools to work with or enough materials to teach a child with disability. There are still a lot of schools that turn away students for the simple reason that they are honest in saying, we are not trained, right? Para i-mix mo siya sa regular students, pwede naman yun, kaya lang dapat merong materials na babagay doon sa disability, sa disabled student, no? Na tuturo rin sa classroom. Sasabihin ng mga nagto-turn away, we are not trained, we don't want to shortchange the child, but it shortchange the parents, and they don't want to lie about it. So So, inaamin nila na wala silang kapasidad to do that. What happens is that it now becomes mostly the parents' accountability. That's right. It's like you enrolled your child there knowing that it is not an inclusive situation. Okay? So, hindi mo mabiblame yung institution. It becomes mostly their choice and burden to bear. Meron naman kasing caveat emptor na sinasabi yung mga eskwela. Sinasabi, hindi po kami dyan trained, hindi po kami dyan equipped. However, parents like Alex who cannot pay for a private tutor cannot afford to be picky. She believes her son would also be bullied in large public schools despite the free tuition. Sa public schools naman, the usual problem is that they do not turn down students. Exactly. But not all schools have trained teachers in inclusion, and not all has a SPED center or SPED program. So we are really after something that can be put into a law. At least in writing, there is a legal basis to make them inclusive. Yun na nga. Pero a year ago na pa yon, hindi pa po lahat, di ba? Hindi pa all. Okay? Republic Act 11650 mandates the government to take a whole of community approach involving the Department of Education and the Department of Social Welfare and Development, the SWD, and the Department of Health to address the growing number of learners with disabilities in the country. It would take at least 5 years, okay, for all public and private schools and ILRCs to fully comply. Ngayon nga, a year after, halos ang liit, konti pa lang. With a new law in making inclusive education accessible para sa lahat ng nag-aaral na may mga disabilidad, according to its provisions. Dahil sa delay ng pag-release nitong IRR, beyond the 90-day period given, okay, for the creating or crafting of the IRR of newly passed laws, its full impact has yet to benefit parents like Alex, whose children struggle to adjust to a regular classroom. Worse, the law misses out on addressing the needs of the estimated 60% of children with disabilities not enrolled in any school or learning center. According to the Department of Social Welfare and Development, yung listahan nila noong 2019 data, 60% pa po ng children with disabilities are not enrolled in any school or learning center. Enrollment among learners with disabilities were free-falling during the pandemic, with DepEd recording only around 126,000 learners with disabilities enrolled in DepEd schools in 2021. This is 65% lower than the 360,000 students enrolled before the pandemic in 2019. Okay. Ang INET Philippines po, which is a civil society network of education groups, called the government on March 22 to lay down clear guidelines on how to implement the law, which is meant to address the education and health needs of around 5 million Filipino children with disabilities. Diba? Tapos 126,000 lang yung nag-enroll. The development and implementation of IRR is a critical step in translating the law into action and achieving its intended outcomes, okay? The IRR provides clear guidelines and procedures that help ensure that the law is implemented consistently across different settings. Si Zanina Costudio, a professor of the Philippine Normal University, who formed part of the PNU team that DepEd consulted in crafting the IRR, said that the lack of an IRR makes it difficult to know whether schools outside of urban centers will comply with its provisions, specifically in finding and identifying students with special needs. Dali lang po Nagahang. Pardon me. Dali lang po Let me just fix because my thing just crashed. Okay. Oops. Naghahang po kasi pasensya. Okay. Ang isa pang issue po, there is also the penalty. If there is no IRR, who are we going to penalize once there is a student or person who is discriminated in entering regular classrooms? Okay. Custodio added that academics and advocacy groups have long sought the passage of the Inclusive Education Act since 2018. Okay. Custodio participated in Senate hearings about the law and explained that the then unfamiliar concept of inclusivity in education. Inclusivity, di ba, discuss natin inclusivity, ethnicity, di ba, diversity. Inclusivity means mag-mix po yung may disabilities sa walang disabilities and try to include yung kanilang needs sa mga programa na ano po sa eskwela or yung mga lesson plan, no? Okay? So, I even cried when it was signed, sabi ni Custodio. It was really difficult to explain what inclusive education is. Imagine you had to defend what inclusion is among policymakers, among stakeholders, including parents and even teachers. It took too much time. It's because the pandemic also happened. While Custodio said that they had already presented a proposed IRR to DepEd in December, it is unclear that the agency would decide on a final version of the IRR or if it already has. Okay? Sandali lang po, ha? Ano ba nangyari dito? Wala pa lang. May nagtanong, nag-text kasi, ano ba, sabi daw ako na sabi ng IRR, ano ibig sabihin ng IRR? Ang ibig sabihin po ng IRR is the immediate reinforcement and remediation. It is a method advocated as a systematic approach to aid in the success of mainstream elementary or in mainstream slow learning and learning for disabled students. Ulitin ko, ang IRR ay immediate reinforcement and remediation. Remediation, okay? Remediation, okay? Immediate reinforcement and remediation, IRR. It is a method advocated as a systematic approach to aid in the success of mainstream learning and of disabled students, okay? Teka, ilalagay natin para makita nyo mas mabuti ang meaning niyan. Ito, I will put it. This is what IRR means, okay? Ayan. Ayan, okay? Para doon sa mga nagtatanong. I've been blabbing about it. That's for this, okay? What is the meaning of IRR in education? Well, it is to help, it is to assure that it is an approach in which yung special education where a resource teacher will follow up with a student on critical areas by using different methods and materials to reinforce the information, okay? All right. Okay, so going back to what I was saying, okay? Sabi po ni Custodio, they had already presented a proposed IRR to DepEd in December. It is unclear when the agency would decide on a final version of the IRR for the schools, okay? Or kung nakapag-desisyon na. Opo. DepEd spokesperson Michael Powa was reached out to for a comment. He has yet to respond, okay? The principle of this law is a whole of community approach, and a lot of agencies and stakeholders need to have a voice in this implementation. That is one of the challenges in crafting this IRR, okay? All right. Custodio added that without the law, there would be no clear policy on how to use DepEd funds in identifying students with disabilities in every locality, which is among the law's salient points, okay? DepEd's SPED program was initially given no budget. Ano ba yan? In the National Expenditure Program submitted to Congress for 2023. Bakit naman hindi bibigyan ng budget yung special needs? Ano ba yan? Its budget was later restored to 532 million. Parang lumiit pa. Enough to convert the existing SPED centers in the country into ILRCs, which have more resources and facilities. But now, because of the delay of the IRR, okay, of the much sought after law, it is snuffing out what little momentum of support has been given to children with disabilities, a sector that rarely clinches into institutional power through legislation. Sabi po ni Aligada Halal, who is also a member of the ADHD Society of the Philippines, sinabi po niya that some parents of children with ADHD she had spoken to are now skeptical a year after the disability sector celebrated the passage of the law. Kasi po, yung sabi niya, the conversion on disability rights has changed. Last year, when it was a newly signed law, everyone was so hopeful. But then, towards the latter part of the year, we saw that nothing had changed. Schools don't feel compelled to act on it because they're also waiting for instructions, di ba? Nag-aantay sila ng balita, nag-aantay sila ng direksyon. Sabi nga nitong parent na si Alex, that for now, she's hoping that her son could learn from homeschooling. Yun na nga, pero nasa parents yung responsibilidad, which she personally gives to him during what little time she spares from online selling. Buti na lang po, yung trabaho rin ni Alex ay sa bahay, nag-online selling sa internet. Otherwise, kung working nanay ka na nag-opisina, wala na talagang time para turuan yung iyong child, right? She does not have formal training in teaching children with speech delay, but said this is better than nothing. Yun na nga po. So, it boils down to, it resorts to magulang ang magtuturo. Pero yun na nga, kung hindi capable, paano na lang, right? Okay, so with that said, all right, and now we go to the trends in education and technology, okay? Okay, let's look at this. Okay, 9 trends in education technology that's having a major impact this year. Okay, ano kaya yun? Let's find out. The last few years have witnessed, of course, a dramatic change in the learning model, in the learning system, as much as it has affected the workplace too, okay? The way students are being taught today is very different from the teaching methods that were adopted a few decades back. Before the pandemic, of course, technology has already brought about various changes in the way education is delivered and received. From self-learning to flipped classroom approaches, okay, which we have seen technology make a considerable impact on the learning and teaching methodologies. Maraming benefits po to offer. Digital learning has become an important part of the education system. Information and communication technology, ICT, brings in multiple benefits for digital learning and student-centric engagement. The ICT trends in education shape the schools and universities to implement the latest education technology in order to improve the teaching and learning process. Ano po ang nakikita nating mga pros ng technology sa pag-aaral? Ang unang-una po dyan is collaborative learning. Okay? Collaborative learning. Collaborative is the operative word. The innovative trends in educational technology have made it possible for everyone to stay connected, right? Of course. But even with the lockdowns po, hindi naman tayo totally hindi nakapag-sosyalan because yun lang nga, virtual. We were able to see our friends, we were able to host parties, hold parties, have group chats, and have gathering online nga lang, virtual nga lang, okay? Okay, when students team up together to work on a project or solve a problem, it builds their collaborative skills. Okay, the innovative trends in education and technology made it possible for them to stay connected, right? The impact of the current trends of ICT in the field of education has paved multiple options. We connect, discuss, and enact upon situations collaboratively. Okay? So yun po, nagko-collaborate po lahat-lahat ng itong elements na ito. This collaborative approach has gained importance in the learning process as well. In a classroom learning model, teachers encourage collaboration by assigning group activities and tasks, di ba? Virtually, nagawa na rin natin to. Yun nga lang, ang problema dyan at reklamo ng lahat is you can interact right online. Kaya lang kasi you are in a box, parang nasa screen mo ikaw. Wala yung personal touch na nasa in one room kayo together to coordinate. Pero what are you gonna do? No? Pandemic, tsaka yun nga yung available means, okay? So when students team up together to work on a project or solve a problem, it builds their collaborative skills. Working together improves their understanding and increases engagement. Although e-learning is quite popular, it includes collaboration with features to share and discuss. It is a traditional teaching model. A teacher and, sorry, nakakatiya nga ilong ko. Hey, Fever! Okay. In a traditional teaching model po, a teacher enters the classroom, tapos sasalita siya for 30 minutes, tapos the bell rings. Okay? Pero today, technology has bridged the gap between teachers and students. You would find teachers and students interacting more often, right? Teachers are far more accessible now and act as mentors to help students in their overall developments. Kasama niyo yung teacher niyo sa chat group niyo, di ba? Pwede niyo siyang i-message, pwede niyo siyang i-Viber, i-WhatsApp, i-Line para magtanong. Basta makita mo online, yung ilaw, andyan yung teacher ko. Mas accessible sila ngayon. This collaborative learning approach helps students to interact with their peers and build their interpersonal skills. Yun po, collaborative, okay, learning. Number 2, learning outside the classroom environment, learning out of the box. Various technology trends in education keeps changing the digital world, okay? Mobile-based devices, okay, have taken learning outside of the classroom. With m-learning or mobile learning and e-learning, electronic learning, growing in popularity, students can learn at their own pace and time. Nangyari rin po ito ng lockdown, na-realize natin yan, right? This trend is expected to keep up as it is, kasi it is a convenient method of delivering as well as receiving the education, okay? Designing mobile-first responsive content. Designing mobile-first responsive content helps students to go through their courses anytime and anywhere. Ikaw kasi pwedeng umawa ng sarili mong curriculum sa sarili mo. Lalo na yung mga nagsa-self-study or homeschooling or distance learning. Diba? You set your own pace and the amount of content or na pwede mong ma-learn or ma-research is up to you. Okay? Internet connection is no longer an issue with offline reading capabilities. E-books can be embedded with many features to enhance the learning experience. Pwede mo i-download tapos basahin kahit offline, right? Complete with annotation tools, bookmarks, hyperlinks, dictionary, search feature. An e-book makes learning more flexible. Most of the educational institutes today have adopted mobile learning into their learning ecosystem, benefiting students and teachers alike. Okay? Reciprocated naman yung benefit. Okay. Social media learning. Ayan, okay? Okay, maraming natututunan ngayon sa social media. Kaya lang, as it is, caveat emptor, not everything that you see and read and watch in the internet, whether in social media or the news, is real. Verify your facts, as I always say. Ang dami kasi po ngayong hackers, ang daming mga cyber criminals na nagsisteal ng identity, nagsisteal ng mga legit na websites or mga like CNN, ganyan, kunyari news galing. Kasi dahil sa galing ng technology, sa galing ng mga IT, ng mga designers, nagagaya nila yung mga legit na companies, organizations, or news reporting. Yung logo nilalagay nila dyan. Tsaka yung mga video na kapapagdikit-dikit na edit na nagagawang isang buong storya, right? So we have to be careful of the information that we gather. Social media learning, let's talk about that, right? Who would ever thought that social media one day would be accepted as one learning process or one learning platform? The technological trends in teaching and learning are rapidly changing every day. With kids as young as 11 having social media profiles or accounts on various platforms, you can't really expect to keep them away from social media for long. So, teachers found a way to utilize this trend and turn it into a powerful tool for enhancing the learning process. Paano? Educational institutes have started using social media as a communication tool where students can interact with their peers and faculty members. Okay? Usually, students share videos and images with their friends and followers. But with social features embedded in their ebooks, they can share study materials, opinions, projects, etc., homework, right? Yun ang kainaman yan, okay? They can comment on someone else's post or share links to other websites. They can actually help each other. Interdependent lang mga lahat. Dahil, okay, magagamit nila yung mga ibang information na nakukuha nila sa social media to help them with their schoolwork, okay? So, they can comment on someone else's posts or share links to other websites, all the while building peer networks and enhancing the online learning experience, okay? Teachers allow the use of social media as part of the learning model because it helps students to stay interested in their course and increases engagement, diba? Social media is here to stay. Social media learning is incorporating it into learning modules will build kasi ang social media will build a culture of collaboration and sharing, leading to an improved learning experience. Yun lang nga po. Be careful what you add. Be careful who you add. Be careful who you post and what you post. Okay? I-verify nyo muna. Okay? Ang next naman po dyan, bago tayo mag-close is interactivity in the classroom. Okay. Bringing technology into the classroom has made classrooms lively and interactive. Dahil sa ebooks, the course content can be embedded with videos, augmented reality, audio files, etc. Unlike a printed book, an ebook allows for more interaction to take place in the classroom. The flipped classroom model has allowed students to do all the learning at home and all the practical work at school. All these new technologies have brought about a change in the way that classes used to function traditionally. Teachers can now assist and guide students with their homework in class virtually. Pwede namang tulungan. They can have discussions and activities in classrooms, diba? Creating an interactive environment where students are completely involved in the learning process. Ito po yung creating interaction and engagement ang naging priority para sa mga eskwela at sa mga universities. Their style of learning has seen a growth in recent years for its ability to keep students engaged in the classroom. Okay? So, okay, number 5, last one. Data management and analytics. Ayan, talaga importante yan, okay? Managing data has become ever so convenient with the advent of technology in the education system, okay? Teachers can now have complete analytics of a student's performance, okay? Such as the number of tests attempted, chapters completed. Kasi I think it's important to have a little bit of a pre-knowledge sa behavior ng estudyante. At least meron parang background profiling. Homework and assignments can be assigned to the entire class, okay, at once, and teachers can evaluate the results online. Okay, this kind of automation in classroom activities has enabled teachers to focus more on their course modules and offer in-depth guidance. Analytics has become an important part of any online learning model, okay, as it enables the measurement of child's engagement and academic performance. According to the data available, teachers can develop action plans to improve students' performance. Aha. Wala na akong water, natutuyo na ang ilo. That's right. On the side po, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Para iwas heat stroke. Okay, so as I said, analytics has become important part of online learning model as it enables the measurement of child's engagement and academic performance. Na-measure po nito yung improvement o yung pag-aaral ng inyong anak. Okay, it measures a child's engagement and academic performance. According to the data available, teachers can develop action plans to improve students' performance. In case the data reveals a collective issue or troubling pattern with an individual student's performance, it can be highlighted and appropriate measures can be taken. Ulitin ko, no? In case the data reveals a collective issue or a troubling pattern with an individual student's performance, kung meron ng parang problema tungkol sa pag-perform ng estudyante, it can be highlighted and appropriate measures can be taken, okay? The remote monitoring of student activities enables teachers to offer personalized training if required. All these factors have contributed to making data management and data analytics an important part of education. But of course, I agree. Malaking bagay talaga. Okay? So, marami pa pala dahil 9 yun. Yun po yung pinag-usapan natin kahapon. Innovative learning with AR and VR. Okay? With the introduction of augmented reality and virtual reality into the education system, hindi lang sa workplace, okay? The classroom learning experience has undergone a tremendous change. Learning has become much more immersive than traditional methods. Unlike plain images and hands-on experiments in the lab, students can now view enhanced versions of the image and objects on their mobile devices. The augmented and virtual reality trends in education technology are making e-learning a compelling experience. Imagine, parang naglalaro lang, no? While augmented reality provides an enhanced view of a real image, virtual reality gives a false perception of reality around them. O yun na nga. Totoo naman, pati yung metaverse nga, hindi ko feel yung Facebook na 3D. Ano ba yan? Robot na tayong lahat. Okay, both these techniques have taken digital learning to new dimensions. AR and VR are increasingly being used to explain complex concepts. From atoms to planets and from Egypt to Colosseum, students can explore and learn to do much more. Okay. So how can augmented reality transform into the classroom? Well, we will talk about that in another day. We will devote again to artificial intelligence, AI, virtual reality, augmented reality, and such, okay? So, online data and cybersecurity, dalawa na lang, okay, mga trends. Online data and cybersecurity. The need for data security is at an all-time high, not more than ever before. Ang dami-dami pong identity theft, ang daming cybercrimes na nangyayari. While cloud storage has become the norm these days, it could prove disastrous at times. People and situations prefer cloud storage because it is a shared environment and it makes accessing data easy for everyone. With that being said, there have been a lot of instances in the past where online data has been hacked for ransom. Ang dami naman talaga. Yung malware, phishing, no? Hindi natatapos. Years and years na to, uso na yung hacking na yan eh. 20 years after, ganun pa rin. naman, siguro mga 10. The need for data security is an all-time high. Okay? People and institutions prefer cloud storage because it is a shared environment and it makes accessing data easy. Okay? Cyber threats can have been a cause of worry for many institutions, educational and otherwise. Student information like name, email address, date of birth, and phone numbers cannot be compromised. Test results and assignments are also stored on the cloud. Ito po yung cloud, no? By many. Education institutions are implementing the best data security measures to protect their own online data and their students' interests. While we are the top of cybercrimes, we must also address cyberbullying. In 2017, 14.5% of students in the United States reported that they were bullied, electronically. Cyberbullying could lead to dangerous outcomes, and hence schools and universities are taking appropriate precautionary measures to prevent online bullying. Cybersecurity, therefore, is a long trend which holds a lot of importance in their lives. Okay. Hold on, my throat is so dry. Last but not the least, personalized training. Personalized training is the approach to education that tailors teaching and learning to individual students' needs and preferences. Itong taon na to, personalized learning could become even more prevalent thanks to advances in artificial intelligence and data analytics. Teachers and educational technology platforms may use AI algorithms to analyze student data and provide personalized recommendations on content, pacing, and learning strategies, okay? It was only a matter of time before the education sector was taken over by technology. Pero di ba nga, ang dami pong hindi pa sanay. Exactly. In fact, di ba, nung transition from face-to-face to distance learning, ang daming teachers na nangapa kasi hindi nila alam gumamit ng mga gadgets, hindi nila alam magawa ng presentation in PowerPoint, lahat mano-mano. So, those were the impediments. Pero, nakapag-upgrade na naman yung most of the teachers, right? Teaching and learning methods have undergone a significant change due to all the different trends in education technology. Every year, new trends emerge to provide something new, okay, to the learners. They say change is constant. Similarly, innovations in the field of technology are also constant. Constantly changing. As we speak, may ibang technology din na-develop. Walang tigil po ang pag-discover ng new technology. And that's why we're here sa Buhay Online to tell you about it and to help you embrace it and accept it and let it help you and not be against you, okay? Certain innovations can be implemented in the education system for improving their learning and development process. The result of these innovations become a trend which then leads to better teaching and learning. Diba? It all boils down to bringing about a better way of teaching and learning. All right? Okay, so on that note po, no, nagpapasalamat ako sa the information that we talked about today, okay? This was based on studies made by Vishal Dani of Education Technology, okay? Yan po ang sinulat niya. Okay, maraming salamat for that information. And on this note, I'd like to, of course, remind people that if you missed some episodes of ours, just go back to our YouTube page, YouTube channel pala, which is Broad Stream Cast Communicators. Yung pong ibang mga natin, mga followers ay naghahanap pa rin sa atin. So, I will keep trying to send messages to say na nakalipat na at dito sila pumunta. Alright? Maraming salamat po for joining me today. This has been Bautista for Buhay Online on a Wednesday. And thank you so much. At the end of the day, huwag niyo pong kakalimutan that 3 things should remain in our lives, and that is faith, pananampalataya, hope, and love, pagmamahal sa lahat. Happy Wednesday and have a good lunch po. Kita-kita bukas.
Inyong datunghayan at napakinggan ang mga sa mundo ng online. sa pamamagitan pa rin ng Broad Stream Cast Communicators. Hanggang sa muli, maraming salamat po.